Hello. I wanted to make a pretty quick recording. The last one I did was kind of long, but I noticed that some people stuck with it. So thank you for that. During the course of the week, I have an audio journal where I just notate thoughts and dreams that I might have, et cetera, et cetera. And every once in a while, I'll think, oh wow, that was an interesting observation. I should make a recording and kind of expound on that. I started recently just asking the Lord to show me things while I make whatever recording I'm making. Usually I'll journal my dreams. That's the main thing I use my audio journal for. But there's other things too, right? I think probably a lot of us journal. Most people I think do it in pen and paper. But I just find it easier to do audio. Anyway, I was doing that yesterday, and there were some things that kind of came up in my mind that I thought I would share. And some of them were observations that were made by Jamie LoveInAction. That's her channel. I like listening to her. She's such a calming influence. She's very calm, and she has a lot of encouraging things to say. And I think that's very needed right now. But I was thinking about some things that she brought up and thinking about Esther. Okay, so those of you who have been on this train for a little while know that there's this big contention about, you can't know the date. And I was raised that way too. In fact, up until a month ago, I subscribed to the same thing, right? Nobody can know the date. Nobody can know the hour when the Lord does come. It's going to be quick and it's going to be out of the blue, and we are all just going to be snatched up, and it's just going to be immediate. I think a lot of us were raised that way. Like I said, I know I was. But my thoughts about all of this have changed dramatically over the past month. I think we understand now that it's a process. But there's another element to that to me is very, very practical. When you think about Esther, and again, I think there's a lot of things now that we originally thought were stories, very instructive stories, but that I think also have very prophetic elements. We didn't know that. Like, we didn't know that the story of the parable of the 10 virgins was actually prophetic. Now we know that. Oh, that's a prophecy. I think some of the things that happened to Esther were also types and shadows and very prophetic of what we're going through right now. So what happened with Esther? Well, we know the story, right? The original queen did some stuff that the king was not happy about. So he's like, I need a new queen. And so he scours the kingdom for all the virgins that are in the kingdom. Everybody come. All y'all virgins come. And I'm going to pick a new wife from among you. So all these young virgins are, invited into I'm just going to use the word palace. I'm sure it was very expansive, but I'm sure they had a special place where they were housed, right? And who knows? They probably came from all walks of life. Some of them probably had never seen anything like that palace. Probably some of them that had never eaten as well as they ate, et cetera, et cetera. But get this, they're all virgins. Every single one of them is a virgin. They're all virgins. But that's not good enough for the king. He doesn't just want any old virgin. He wants a spotless, pure bride. Not just a virgin off the street. It sounds like an oxymoron. A virgin off the street. He wants a spotless, pure bride. So what happens? Every single virgin that comes into or under his protection, they all have to go through a purification process, every single one of them, before they can even have an audience with the king. It's not even about being selected by him, before they can even talk to the king, before they can be in his presence. They have to go through a purification process that lasts one entire year. Even though they're virgins, they're already pure, right? But he wants the purest of the pure. They all have to go through a process to be purified before they can even have an audience. And then, and only then, will he go through and pick the one person that he wants to be his wife. So it is a process. It's not just that it's like, oh, you're a virgin. Come on over. Come on over. Let's go. Let's talk now. You come to my chambers now. You're a virgin. Come on. No, you had to go through a purification process before you were even allowed to see the king. So then my question is, why would Jesus be any different? This was an earthly king with an earthly kingdom. Why would Jesus be any different? Why would he demand any less? So for those of us who thought that we were just going to be snatched up and boom, we're at the wedding. Really? Really? That's how we thought it was all going to go down? No purification process. We're all virgins, right? We all made the virgin cut, right? But did we really think that we were just going to go and be snatched up and that was going to be the end of it and there was going to be no purification process at all? The parable of the 10 virgins makes it very clear there will be a warning shout. This is not going to happen without a warning. This is not going to happen out of the blue. There will be a warning. There has to be. That parable is told in 2 of the Gospels. It can't be ignored. There will be a warning. And now we know there has been a warning. The warning has gone out. It has gone out. And what has that afforded us? It's afforded us time to prepare. Time to prepare ourselves, time to prepare our hearts. We didn't just get snatched up. We have time to prepare. That's a gift. That's a gift that the Lord has given us. He's given us a gift of time. Use it. Use it wisely. Use it wisely to be on your face before the Lord, to pray, to fast, to spend time with him, to get those stubborn sins out of your life. We have that time, that preparation time that he's given us as a gift. He didn't just, because I honestly believe, I could be wrong, but I honestly believe that if it had been one of those situations where he had just come and snatched us unawares when we were all asleep, I don't think anybody would have gone. I really don't. I don't think anybody would have gone. The Bible says in that parable that all the virgins were asleep. We were all asleep. He had to wake us up first and prepare us. So for those people who are basically covering their eyes, see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing, and not wanting to even look at this because, oh, it's a date. Bad, it's a date, bad. For those people who won't even look, because they're so sure that because there's a date that there's something wrong with us, and they think, no, it's going to be instant. Think again. You're ignoring some very, very important truths. And I think what we've all learned, those of us who are watching, I think what we've learned is this is more of a process than we could have ever possibly imagined. We just didn't know. But we also do know that God told Daniel, vision is sealed up until the last days. In other words, there's going to be things that are veiled and not clear until it's time for them to be revealed. And I think all the light and the truth that we're understanding now is for a reason. It's because it's time now for it to be revealed. We understand it now. So I'm telling myself, use the time that you've been given, because it's not going to be that long. The parable says at midnight, a cry went out. He gave a very specific time when that cry went out. I don't think that was an accident, right? It was very, very specific timing. He could have just said a cry went out. Suddenly a cry went out. No, he said midnight. There is a time component. There is a time element. There is an appointed time. And it's very, very, very soon. So use the time that you have to prepare yourself to be that Esther that's perfectly prepared and ready to go, so that when he does crack the sky, we've gone through that purification process and now we're ready to go with him. Okay, that was my thought. As always, thanks for listening. God bless.